guys, today we are going to be playing with a new release from Kailav Beauty, and I am so excited because if you've been around for a while, you probably know that their first ever palette, which was the Impressionism palette, this was my favorite palette of, was it 2019 or 2020? I forget, time flies, doesn't it? But this used to be one of my absolute favorite palettes, and here is what the color story looks like. Ever since this palette, they kind of changed their format for their palettes, and they started doing these sort of more bulky box packaging palettes, and I'm happy to say that they are finally back to doing the slimmer packaging again. So this is their newest palette. This is called the Art Noveau palette, and the color story on this is so beautiful. This palette will be available for, I guess, like early access tomorrow when you see this video. I don't know when like the actual launch is going to be, but if you're interested in this palette, you're probably gonna have to sign up for their like email notifications or something like that. I will link their Instagram down below as well as their website. I'm not really sure how this works, but that is all the information that I've seen on their Instagram. I did get this sent in PR, obviously, since I do have it early. So we're going to be doing 3 looks with this. I've already done 2 looks. I think I want to show you the other 2 looks at the end of the video. Let me know what you prefer, because I know I've been doing this a lot lately where I've kind of filmed 2 looks without talking through them because my videos just end up being way too long when I do that. Do you want to see the other 2 looks in the beginning of the video or at the end of the video? Because either way, I'm still going to do like a full look and talk through my thoughts. So yeah, let me know how you feel. I'm gonna save the other 2 looks for the end of the video this time, but I'm really excited to be showing you this palette, and I'm really excited to be just playing a little bit more with this. Like I said, I have already done 2 looks, so I definitely have some thoughts, and I'm not sure exactly how I feel yet. I'm gonna have to do another look, and then I will give you like my final thoughts on this, but I think that this is a right step in the, this is a step in the right direction for the brand. I'm really happy to see the slimmer packaging again. I also do want to mention that this is a, I guess, collection. It does come with a wet liner palette, which they offered to send me, but I was like, you know what? I just don't really think that's something I'm going to be using a lot, and the colors in it weren't really the kind of colors that I would want to use water activated liners with. So I decided not to get that palette, but I mean, there's a picture of it on the screen, so if you're interested, if that is something that you think you're going to like, I feel like they would be, you know, making really good water activated liners, because I haven't tried anything from Kailav that hasn't been good quality. So yeah, I'm excited to play a little bit more with this. So I'm not really sure exactly what it is that I want to do. I do want to play with some of these mattes that I haven't played with. I've used the yellow, I've used the green, I've used the blue, I've used the purple. I haven't really dipped too much into these warm tones, so I think maybe I want to do a little bit of something with those. Maybe this shade right here, which is kind of like a really cool grungy green shade. Maybe that could be fun to play with. I don't want this to end up being like a neutral look by any means, but I do think I want to use some of these more warmer tones just because I haven't dipped into them. So I think because I had some issues with this green in one of my other looks, I'm going to start with this one, which is the darkest shade I think I'm going to use in this look, just to make sure I'm not experiencing any kind of patchiness. That's something that I haven't really run into with Kailav's formula in the past, so I was surprised to see that with the green, that it wasn't really that layerable. So I just want to make sure that I'm using this in a way that I'm going to be sure to get a good look out of it. So I'm going to start with that in the outer corner of my eye here, and that is a beautiful, beautiful, very true dark red shade. Oh, I really liked that. That is a cool shade. So I'm kind of just patting that in the outer corner of my eye. I'm going to take it a little bit through my crease, but I don't think I want it all the way. I think I want more of that orange in the front portion, just so we can also see like the difference between the 2 colors. And I'm going to take a little bit of this just on the outer portion of my lower lash line as well, just to make sure I connected with the outer corner shade here, because that is just going to make everything come together. But so far this is going on very nicely. It's very rich in pigment and is laying on my lid very nicely. So far very happy with this shade. I have not come across a red like this in a very long time. Like, this looks such true to color that I'm almost a little bit surprised, because usually reds just tend to pull pink on me, and it definitely could be because of my eyeshadow primer, but even on my Natasha Denona eyeshadow primer, which is kind of pink based, I don't feel like this shade is doing that, which makes me really happy because this looks beautiful. So for the front portion, I'm gonna use the orange. I just want to see like how big of a difference there is between these 2 colors, because I feel like they look kind of similar but also not really. So we're just gonna go ahead and try it. I'm gonna grab the shade which is called Rouge, And I'm just gonna pack that in the front portion of my crease and meet it up with the red and sort of blend these two in together. And I think I'm gonna use a little bit of the yellow to sort of blend out the edges of the red. I think that's going to be my plan here. I really, really like the yellow when I used it in my other look, so you'll see that in a little bit, but I had a really good time with that yellow and I would like to just use it again. So I do think that these two colors are different enough that they can both be in the same palette. I do sort of wish that the orange maybe was a little bit lighter, just a little bit more yellow based maybe, just so we could have a bit more of a difference between the two. I feel like maybe if you used one as a transition shade to the other, they would end up sort of blending into the same color, but on the other hand, I mean, they're definitely different. I just don't know if they're different enough. Don't worry, I am going to do some more blending, but first I am gonna go into the yellow shade here, and my mirror just fell on the floor. Thank God I have a carpet because that would have been a disaster. I'm gonna go into the yellow shade here, which is called Climate, and I'm just gonna run that over the edge of the red shade just to get a bit of a good blend here and a gradient. I'm not expecting this to be like super pigmented since I'm not putting it down as the first shade. I'm just going to use it as a blending out shade and see where we end up. But this is definitely a very, very nice yellow. You can see it showing up quite nicely here, and yellows tend to be quite hard to get nice and pigmented, and I really do like this. I really like the tone of this yellow as well. This is just blending together so nicely. Yeah, that looks beautiful. I'm just going back in with a little bit more of that red. I just want to make sure that I intensify this so that it's the way that I want it to be, but this is looking beautiful. I don't know what the deal with the green was that I used. I hope it was just that color that's a little bit iffy, because so far everything else that I've used in this palette have been really, really nice. I'm just taking a clean fluffy brush here and working on just blending out that orange that I have in the front portion of my crease a little bit extra. But this is looking really, really nice. Now the question is, what do I want to do for my lid shades? I know I said I wanted to use that green shade. I'm not sure that's really going to go with this look though, but I might just do it anyway. Maybe it would go with the look. It would be kind of a grungy, warm tone look here. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe I'll use this one and a little bit of this as well. I'm gonna start with the shade right here. Now the thing about I keep saying Muse Beauty. Did I say that in the beginning too? That's what they used to be called, and then they rebranded, and like my brain has still not processed the fact that they're not Muse Beauty anymore. Kailav Beauty. The thing about Kailav shimmers is that they're quite subtle, but once you get them on the eyes, they look very nice. They're not super intense. They're not super glittery. They're not super metallic. They're a very, very basic shimmer formula, but they are the kind of formula that wears beautifully. If you have textured eyelids, if you don't like something that's super out there, but you still want to have something that's kind of shimmery on the lid, I think you would really like Muse's. I just did it again. I think you would really like Kailav shimmers. They're not my favorites, but I do think that they're nice. I am going to spray it a little bit because, like I said, I just want to make sure that they are as intense as I'm able to get them here. So I'm going to start this in the middle of my lid and sort of drag them outwards. You can easily apply these shimmers dry as well. It's not going to make that big of a difference, but I do find that they go on the eye a little bit easier when you do either use a glitter primer or spray your brush, but using a glitter primer isn't going to really enhance them much more than spraying your brush will anyway, so I tend to just spray because it's a little bit easier. Just leaving a little bit of room in my inner corner for that other shimmer, but this is blending into the red shade very nicely, and I think that this is actually kind of a cool color combination. Okay, and then for the rest of my lid, I'm gonna use the orange shade here, which I did use dry in the other look, and I didn't feel like it was super intense, so I am going to just give this one a spritz as well. I feel like I'm having a hard time picking this up from the pan. It's almost like it's hard pan a little bit, and I'm not used to Kailav's shimmers doing that. I mean, it's obviously going on the eye still, but it's a little bit harder to pick this one up on a brush than it was the other ones that I've used. So maybe keep your fingers out of this palette and don't swatch it. I'm not really sure. But this is a really, really pretty orange shimmer, and I feel like there's there's not enough orange shimmers out there. It's definitely a very underrated color. There is another orange shimmer in this palette as well, but I haven't tried that one yet, and I probably won't be able to. It's a little bit darker, but I just felt like that wouldn't really go with this look. I think I really like this. I'm just gonna take a little bit more of that red, just go back in with that again on the outer edge, and then I'm gonna go ahead and finish off. I might do a bit of an intense liner with this look because I'm just kind of feeling that. And then I'll come back, I will show you the final look, and I will show you the other looks that I've done as well, and just give you my overall thoughts on this palette, because I definitely have thoughts, as per usual. Who's surprised, right? Okay, I know I said I was going to do a dramatic liner, but this got very dramatic, and I'm kind of living for it. I really like these little inner corner triangles along with like my little whale tail wings. I'm gonna totally give Nikki Raven credit for doing this on her hooded eyes. She was definitely the one who kind of inspired me to try it. I haven't tried it, and she's been doing it for such a long time, and I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna work for me, but like, I kind of love it. It looks kind of weird and like disconnected when you look at it like this, but I do feel like it really comes together, and I feel like it's a great way to do wings on hooded eyes. Let me know if you want like an in-depth tutorial on how to do this once I've done it a few more times and I feel like I'm very comfortable with it, because right now it's still taking a little bit of, you know, practicing to get everything to look right, but I think the final result turned out really good, and I'm so here for this. And I decided to switch out my lipstick because I wanted to try another one of the new ones from Kaleidos. This is the shade called Smeared Rouge, and this is a beautiful, beautiful sort of berry red, and I used one of the lip liners from Kailav as well. These are really, really nice. I don't know if they sell these anymore. This one doesn't have a name on it, but it's just a kind of dark red one, and it's beautiful. I really like it. Now let's talk about this palette while I show you the other two looks that I've done, because I definitely have some thoughts, like I said, and I think that in general it is the normal Kailav quality that I'm used to, but I did feel like I was struggling a little bit with some of the shades in this palette, more so than I have in the past. I haven't really had any problems with their palettes in the past other than just not really loving their shimmer formula, but their mattes have always been really buttery, smooth, and soft, and blendable, and buildable, and I felt like some of the shades in this newer palette were, especially the mattes, were a little bit thinner formula-wise. They were still nice and pigmented, but I felt like they weren't maybe as buildable, but that just goes for some of the shades. In the first look that you were seeing, I didn't have any issues at all building on top of each other. The black was beautiful, really, really nice black, and I really, really like the end result of that look. The whole day when I was wearing it, I was like looking in the mirror being like, I love this look. Like, this looks so good. And I also got some compliments on it, which was really nice, because like I said, I felt very comfortable in that look, and I thought that my experience going forward was going to be exactly the same. But then I sat down today to film and I did the green look, and the green just was not doing what I wanted it to do. I did try to layer it on top of a yellow, which might not be the best color combination to try to layer, because yellows and greens are both tough colors to formulate and to get to be nice and pigmented. But I thought if any brand could do it, it would be Kailav, but I'm a little bit disappointed in that green. I didn't feel like the green layered at all. I even had to go in with my Blend Bunny palette to save it, so I feel like that kind of says a lot, because it is the palette that I always reach for. Like I keep saying, if anything ever goes wrong, I just reach for my Blend Bunny palette and it's all good again. But I do think that the end result ended up looking really nice. It's just I struggled a little bit to get there, and I also didn't feel like the green really stuck underneath my eye at all. So I don't know if it's just the green in this palette that's a little bit iffy. If you want this palette for the green, maybe get the Blend Bunny palette instead. I don't know, but I still overall had a good time with this palette. It's just I felt like some of the shades were maybe not my favorites, and some of the shimmers also, a couple of the ones that I didn't use are very satiny. Like some are a little bit more metallic than others and some aren't. I would say that the shade called Judith, which is one of the ones that I didn't use, this one is really nice. Let's see, what else? The shade Life is really nice. Sensuality is nice. Mucha is nice. These are definitely the most like metallic out of the bunch, but I felt like some of these other ones, this orange that I didn't use, this one that I have on my inner corner, it's fine. It's totally fine. It's got a little bit of hard pan though, but I wasn't having any issues getting it on my eyes. It just looks like it has hard pan, which I guess it does have a little bit, but I still was able to pick it up on a brush, so no big deal. This shade right here, I didn't use on my eyes because I just wasn't really interested in it, if I'm being completely honest. Like this is very flat. Like this is barely a satin. And you guys know satins are not my favorites, but I think that the color story in this palette is beautiful. If you want something that is, like I said before, quite easy to work with, something that doesn't enhance texture on your eyelid if you want something that's a little bit more muted but still has a punch, if that makes sense. Like the mattes are really nice and pigmented from Kailav, but the shimmers are a little bit more toned down, and I know that a lot of people really enjoy that depending on, you know, your age and your eyelids and stuff like that. You want your makeup to look perfect the whole day, and that is one of the things about Kailav's formula, is that it wears so well. I never have any problems with creasing or fading. Once it's on the eyes, it stays there until I go to bed, and I don't have to worry about like tapping on my creases or stuff like that, because I definitely do that with certain brands and it doesn't bother me at all, as long as, you know, the color payoff and the intensity of the shimmers that I'm using is worth it. And for me, a lot of the time it is, but for a formula like this, I would expect it to be super long lasting, and it really is. So those are kind of going to be my thoughts. I don't know if I said in the beginning of the video, but I do have a code with Kailav. I'll have it on the screen. I think it's Annette 10. I might have to see if they can change that, because all of my other codes are just Annette, but I think it's Annette 10, and it will save you 10% if you're interested in picking up anything from them. Let me know if this is a collection that you are interested in, or if you have anything else from Kailav. Let me know how you feel about them as a brand. I think that they are very innovative, and I really enjoy that about them. I like that they try different things. I like that they have a theme, and I like that they stick to the theme, and all of their collections are very well thought out, and I can see the thought that went into it, and it's not like they just woke up one day and had an idea and then the next day it was like kind of out there. Like they work on their collections for quite some time, and you can really tell that they put some thought into it. So yeah, I guess that's going to be it for today. If you want to see some more Kailav content, I do have a playlist. I'll put that right there. And if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.